man, when you just arrive to the gym, you're playing your favorite songs, right? You're about
Yeah.
to get a good workout in. You're gonna
Yeah.
take that pump pick after, right? And it just feels good. It's a positive environment all around, and it's
Mm.
different than being at home, right? And maybe some of us don't have that positive environment at home. Or maybe some of us have a negative environment at work, right? Or maybe some of us are just very isolated in general, that when we get into an environment like a gym and it's positive energy, it's like, man, this is cool. It's almost like you get recharged
Mm.
physically, but also mentally.
All right, guys, welcome back. It's another week on the Real Grand podcast. I'm going to say good evening this time because it is for us, but good morning because I always do it. I was going to try not to. But right now, we're going to be talking to Mr. Aaron Trains, Aaron Trains himself in the flesh. There he is with the Aaron Trains apparel from Brownsville, Texas, imported from Brownsville, right? Because he
That's
came all the way
right.
to Edinburgh, Texas. And this is another one that we've been working on for a little while, right? That we're getting ready,
Absolutely. Yeah,
getting ready to
there's a story behind that,
get on the mic.
you know.
So one of the things that attracted me to this was because like the whole part of like the mission or like the feeling or the whole vibe behind your brand was I know you actually I saw it on your story because like on Aaron Train's apparel it says fueling your body and mind. Is that I don't know if
Train your body and
train
mind.
dang
Close
okay,
enough.
I did my homework. I thought I did train your body and mind, and I was like
Yes,
okay,
sir.
like so what's up with the train your mind part? And then Aaron told me like when I was bothering him, right, messaging him that was like one of the bigger aspects why you
Hmm.
started the whole like you trained your body to train your mind first, right? And then
Mm.
like the
Yep.
byproduct was like the physical benefits from it. Okay, so like why did you want to start training your mind? Like what was you mentioned it was like mental health type of stuff
Hmm.
or okay,
Yeah.
what was going on there
Yeah,
as much as you're willing to
absolutely.
get into it.
So, I would say let me start back a little bit more. Throughout high school, I actually had a lot of anxiety. Whenever I would just walk into big crowds, I would always feel like a panicking sensation, almost like a panic attack. Thank
Mm-hmm.
God I never had one, but it was almost like that
Like
every
borderline,
day. Yeah.
like social
And
anxiety,
yes, like social anxiety, and I had no idea why.
like a daily thing,
Yeah, pretty much a
like
daily
just
thing.
going to
Just
school, you
going to
mean?
lunch. Just
Oh, like the bell rings and everyone's
yeah.
in the hallway.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
walking in the school, I would feel it. Going to lunch, I would feel it. And I was like, man, it kept building up. And I had always played sports growing up, but I had never really taken the weight room seriously because I was never educated on how to properly lift growing up. So I just played sports, never really touched a dumbbell until after high school. I graduated. And this was kind of during COVID 2020. I
Mm.
got a gym membership because my friends influenced me to get a membership, and I thank God for those guys who encouraged me to do that, because if it wasn't for that, I would have never basically found a way to cure my anxiety. And I went through a certain level seasons of depression in high school as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't know how to deal with that. Thank God I never went down alcohol or drugs, but it was just something that I didn't know I would ever get out of.
Mm.
It was a very low point in my life. And right after high school, started working out in the gym, and just showing up to the gym every day. It was almost like earning my self-respect, little by little
Mm.
every day.
Like
And
internally.
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
and it started internally, just like you mentioned right now, Sam. I started earning my self-respect, and that started building up my self-esteem and my confidence in myself. And then,
Because you're watching yourself. You're like, whoa, like
yes.
I'm doing it. Like
Yeah.
you're observing yourself being regular at the gym.
Yes, absolutely. And that
Okay.
kind of started to not only physically build myself up, but also mentally build myself up. And starting to hit the gym every day, it built me up inside first before it did outside. And I started to notice whenever I would hang out with people, I no longer had anxiety. I was more confident in myself because I would follow through on what I said I was going to do.
Hmm.
Some simple things like that, simple disciplines like that started helping me become more self-confident, and building
Mm.
that self-image in myself. And then I started to realize, because I got into personal training at the age of 19, and I started training clients, and they kind of started asking me for advice, and I started to reflect on my journey, and I was like, man, like that's so true. Like I was not only training my body, but I was training my mind. And,
Okay.
that's when I kind of started to correlate, because I was never taught this growing up,
You didn't
about.
realize you were doing that.
Yeah, and I had no idea that I was also training my mind at the same time. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where the center message comes from. Whenever that's kind of the center message of my brand, right? Train your body and your mind, because that's just something huge. Mental health is a huge, huge topic that really isn't talked about too much, especially down here
Yeah.
in the valley, right? That's something that's either joked about or just kind of pushed under the rug,
Yeah.
and
It's just there's a stigma. Especially like you said,
absolutely.
especially here, it's kind of like a hush type of deal.
Absolutely, especially with our culture and just Hispanic men in
And then as
general.
a male, yeah, like man, you got everything on you, man.
Yeah,
You got all the
literally,
got a bad hand there.
a
It's
hundred
true though.
percent.
Yeah, it's true. Because I mean, like, it's kind of like you deal with it yourself, right? Like, so
Mhm.
were you doing other things? Like, did you try other stuff to deal with the anxiety, or was it like you didn't even know there was like options, or
Yeah, so that's a great question, Sam. I really had no idea because I was a kid.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
even know what anxiety was.
you don't know what you were dealing
I
with?
had no idea what I was feeling. I didn't even know. I had heard people talk about anxiety, but again, because we're not educated on these things,
Yeah,
I was like, man, why do I feel so bad? Like being around people, like this is just so uncomfortable. And
no label, or you hadn't. There
yeah,
was nothing like
I was just like, man, like what's wrong with me? Like, is there something wrong with me?
for a long time.
Yes, for a very long time. And because of the gym, because of physical fitness, it changed my mind and my perspective, and just started improving my life little by little. Because I grew more confident in myself, I started to explore other avenues. I started to push myself more, not only in the gym, but also in other ventures. For example, business. Right? I would have
Mm,
never thought, if you would have met me in high school and you would have told me, hey, you're gonna open a business one day. You're gonna have your own brand. You're gonna speak on the news. You're gonna speak in front of crowds. You're gonna speak on stage.
mm.
I'm like, no, you got the wrong guy. Right? Like
Yeah,
that's not me.
because just going to lunch is hard enough, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just never knew that it would have such a big impact. And that was kind of my story behind the brand. Like the brand name, yes, it's Aaron Trains Apparel. It's about my story, not necessarily about me, because when people see this logo, when people hear the Aaron Train story, I want them to feel impacted. I want them to feel inspired, that
Mm-hmm.
that they can also push themselves, to train their body and their mind to do more in life. Because
Okay.
that was kind of what I dealt with. My whole life I was average at everything. Academics, I was average. Even though I played sports my whole life, I was always either the smallest guy or I was just average, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
the worst of the best and the best of the worst, So I never saw anything past high school in athletic wise. Um, but I had always dreamed, that I wanted to do more with my life, but I just didn't know what, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing led to another, and eventually I opened my own business with a brand, and it just started showing me what I was made of.
Okay. So you're not just selling a shirt, you're like promoting like a motivation, like or like an ideal. Because I mean, this is all about like, because it's about life transformation, then, right?
Hmm.
Like, so you really feel like that you experienced that the gym transformed your life.
100%, and that's why I'm so passionate about what I do,
Mm-hmm.
because I know the impact that it had on me, and fitness in general really kept me away, because who knows what would have happened if I never got a gym membership, and
Yeah.
I just stopped playing sports, and I would have been at home miserable. I could have been unhealthy, and I could have started, just getting around the wrong crowds, and maybe gone into drugs or gone into alcohol or partying, or other
Mm.
things to
Yeah.
fill that void. So because it kept me out of so much, and basically saved my life, that's why I'm so passionate about the message of the brand, and spreading it. So that's where the message and the drive kind of comes from.
Okay. So I want to ask you this then. I mean, not that you were counting, but like how long does it take from when you start to like to where you feel like in your daily routine, okay, I feel less anxious, I feel less depressed. Like what was How long did you have to be regular before you started realizing, like, man, like this changed my life?
I would say, um, I would say around the 4 to 6 month mark
Okay.
of consistently going to the gym. Because the other aspect about being I guess pursuing fitness in general is that once you start pursuing fitness, whether alone, right? Let's just say at home, maybe a run club, maybe a gym membership. There's a sense of community in when you start doing that, right?
Okay.
And joining a gym, unknowingly, I was joining a community, right? And it was a new environment, but it was a positive environment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say around the 4 to 6 month mark, one, because I saw results in myself. So once you see that, you're like, okay, you start feeling a little bit more confident.
Keeps you
Like, yeah,
going.
you start flexing in the mirror, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, man, I want more. But at the same time, I started to make friends in the gym. And I started to say hi to people in the gym. And I was like, man, like this is pretty cool, and just being
Mm-hmm.
more comfortable in my environment at the gym, it felt like a second home, and that's when I was like, man, like I feel comfortable. So I didn't realize that, I really didn't have anxiety anymore
Mm.
because I had been a part of a community and I didn't know it yet,
Yeah. You
but it
didn't
was
realize it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I was a part of a community, making friends and just growing out of that shell.
Okay, then I'm gonna keep picking your brain here then,
Go
and
ahead.
because we're all about being curious. And remember, like, we're talking a lot of this like from the perspective of someone that maybe is trying to find the motivation to start,
Mhm.
doing this. And I guess we're focusing more on mental health here. But I want to ask you, like, so when you say that it helped reduce your anxiety, what do you think it was specifically? Do you think it was the physical, like, exercise? Do you think it was like talking to people, or do you think it was like realizing, man, like I don't look so bad anymore? Like, do you know if there was any one thing that really like got you over that hump with like the depression, and the anxiety?
It was a combination of everything,
Okay.
right? I wish I could pinpoint one thing and prescribe that one thing to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody has their own, I guess, individual ideas or perspectives on themselves, right? Their own self image and their
Yeah.
own things that they individually work on. But for me personally, it was a combination of everything, because
So
just
the actual exercise, the
mhm.
the camaraderie, then the realizing that you were doing it right, like watching yourself. So all okay, so like so everything played a part in it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, not only the community, but the working out itself, the actual routine, the mundane, the discipline of showing up, doing the same, workouts,
Mm.
adding a little weight, doing the same workout, adding a little weight, doing the same workout, adding a little weight. Yes, it can get boring, right? When you're doing the same routine, but at the same time, when you are so disciplined in something and you start to achieve and see results, it's like boom, you just unlocked a new level mentally. And just being focused, I think that also took my mind off of myself because I was so
Mm.
focused on the goal, right, physically, that it kind of took away my worries, right? And when you would walk in those gym doors, you kind of forget, right? And I'm sure other people relate to that. It's like once you get to the gym, it's like your happy place, right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
forget about life at home, you forget about work, you forget about any drama going on, and it's like wow, like this is
Because you're
my place.
focused.
Yeah, this is my place to number one focus, but number two, kind of leave everything at the door and just get a good workout in, and it kind of takes your mind off of that. And a lot of it had to also do with the fact that this was during a little bit right after COVID, kind of after that isolation period.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of time to reflect on a lot of events that happened in my life, and just being in the gym alone and just working out and just thinking, just being alone in your thoughts, it's like wow, you start to replay a lot of events in your life and you start to kind of like pick your own brain, and it's almost like being self-aware of
While
your
you're
own.
working out.
Yeah, while you're working out, it's
Like
like
literally you're doing this and you're thinking like, okay, like
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like why am I like this, right? That kind of.
Why am I like this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's funny, but it's true. You start to kind of, at least my experience, I became self-aware of my own thought process.
During exercise.
Yeah, spending hours in the gym by myself, doing something healthy. It gave me positive mental feedback, right? Like, wow, like I'm doing something, I'm actually
Mm.
progressing,
You had
I'm
time
hitting
to
my
think.
goals. Yeah, I had a lot more time to think as opposed to being outside of the gym where typically, I mean, those of you that are in the 9 to 5 or traditional business or school, it doesn't matter what we do, but we just live such a fast-paced life that I think from the moment we wake up, sometimes we go into a robotic mode, right? Where it's like, okay, coffee, right? Okay, driving. And it's like, man, how did I even get to work, right? And it's like, before you know
Oh.
it, it's lunchtime. And it's like, man, like we're just going through, almost like going through the motions, right? And it's like, man, sometimes we never stop to think because we're so used to our daily routines
Mm-hmm.
that we just kind of go through the motions, almost not emotionless, right? But almost not even giving it a second thought to what we're actually doing.
Yeah,
And
mindlessly.
yeah,
Because we
mindlessly
can.
going.
Because, yeah,
Yeah,
you're on autopilot.
exactly. We're on autopilot so often because of our fast paced life that the gym kind of gave me that space to kind of slow life down a bit. And because of that, I started to kind of think back on just different things in my life and
Mm.
realizing, kind of seeing a different perspective of myself, almost like looking at myself through third person. It's
Yeah.
a weird experience, but that was what I kind of started to see, and I started to learn a lot in the gym. So that's why I'm so passionate about it.
And you never knew any of this was going to happen, right? Like, you weren't intentional. Like, you didn't walk in the doors and be like, okay, block everything out. Like, it just happened.
It just naturally happened
Okay.
because of the autopilot, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
man, when you just arrive to the gym, you're playing your favorite songs, right? You're
Yeah.
about to get a good workout in, you're gonna
Yeah.
take that pump pick after, right? And you just get excited to be a part of something as well, because you walk in and it's like, man, you already know you're gonna see people that you see all the time at the gym, and you guys are always catching up, saying hi to people, and it just feels good. It's a positive environment all around, and it's
Mm.
different than being at home, right? And maybe some of us don't have that positive environment at home, or maybe some of us have a negative environment at work, right? Or maybe some of us are just very isolated in general, that when we get into an environment like a gym and it's positive energy, it's like, man, this is cool. It's almost like you get recharged
Mm.
physically but also mentally. So that was my experience with that.
Cool. I'm gonna ask you something now, and like, um, because I mean, we're talking about like how it can transform your life, right? Like, there's so
Hmm.
many benefits to it, and like the mental aspect is only one. I mean, we could go forever talking about like the physical benefits, right, of the exercise. I want to ask you something, just because I mean, we're talking about, we're in the context of living here in the valley. So, like, why do you think it is that there's an issue there when it comes to exercising in the valley? Like, why don't we do it? Why do you think it is? I mean, now
Yeah.
we're just talking like,
Yeah.
because again, everyone knows McAllen, fattest city in the country,
Hmm.
right? Like, everybody's on Ozempic, and
Yeah.
we're just, like, we're just trying to be, see things at face value, be
Hmm.
realistic with ourselves,
Absolutely.
right? We also
Yeah.
can't like hide the things that we don't want to look at. So, like, why do you think it is that there's so many of us that aren't going to the gym?
Easy. I think that has to do with our culture, because of the culture that we have. As far as unhealthy habits, I think that's easily culture. The foods that we grow up eating, and all the desserts and the holidays and whatnot, that's just normal. That's how we grow up. But the thing is that as we grow up and our bodies physically mature, we don't have the same metabolism. We don't have the same energy as before, but we still have the same bad habits that we did growing up in Hispanic culture. So that starts to compound over time. And that's why I think, I mean, the valley is just very unhealthy because of the culture. But at the same time, also to answer the other part of that question is the mindset. I feel like we grew up in these paradigms. Hispanics, right? Naturally, you're stubborn, right? And you know that, and I know that, right? We're stubborn people, and I just think growing up in an environment where it's like my way or the highway,
Mm.
or it's just we're afraid of change, and we're afraid of change because we're afraid of the unknown, right?
As a community, right?
As a
Like,
community,
okay, because
we're
we're talking
afraid.
about us, like the valley
Yes,
specifically.
yeah.
It's not just why don't people like us. So
Hmm.
I see what you're saying. Okay, and that's like so that's preventing a lot of us though, because I mean, if you look at it on paper, like it only makes sense. Like it's gonna make you feel better. You're gonna get stronger, right? Like, stress relief, right? But then there's a disconnect there because like
Bingo.
we're still not making that membership, or and we're just talking about the gym,
Hmm.
like it's literally anything. Like we're still not jumping rope, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
going for a walk.
Uh-huh.
So you mentioned you think that's like it's like mindset, and then
Hmm.
just a product of our cult, like a product of the environment of our culture.
100%. To add to what you just said, you kind of just like hit the nail on the head right there, Sam, when you said it on paper it just makes sense, right? It's like the information's there, right? You just go to the gym, just work out, and something's your life is gonna change. Physically, you're gonna be healthier. So why don't we do it? Well, because we're not logical people, right? And not saying Hispanics in general, but human beings,
Mm-hmm.
we are not logical creatures. We are very emotional creatures.
But can you expand on that? What does it mean that we're not
Absolutely.
logical?
So there's a book out there called Start with Why by Simon Sinek, and Simon Sinek, leadership guru, kind of breaks down the human mind. He talks about different businesses and he goes in depth to why some businesses succeed and some don't. And he talks about really the title of the book, starting with why something
Oh,
exists.
like por qué? I thought you meant
Yeah,
like the letter Y.
no,
Okay.
no, no. Yeah, like why something exists, why a business exists, and he starts to dive a little deeper into the human brain, and he describes two areas of the brain: the limbic and the neocortex. He says the limbic is responsible for our emotions, and the neocortex is responsible for logic. And he says, as human beings, we don't make logical decisions. We make emotional decisions in the limbic portion of our brain. And we use that limbic area to make emotional decisions that make us feel good about ourselves, right? And because our decisions derive from emotions, we then use the neocortex to find something logical to justify our emotional
Mm.
decision. And that's what I mean by being stubborn, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And how logically, right? Well, logically, if we were logical creatures, everybody would be fit. Every
Oh, I
gym
see.
would be packed.
Because it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but of course, and nothing against someone that doesn't work out or that
Yeah.
doesn't choose to have a
We're
healthy.
being real. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If we were logical creatures, we would all be eating the right things. We would all be working out. We would all have better habits. But that's the thing, we're not logical creatures, and that's why. That's why, to answer your question, why, right?
Okay. So then how do you get someone to make that change, right? So I'm stubborn, right? I'm emotional. I'm a culturally ethnocentric Hispanic, right? Valley Mexican. What do you tell me to get me off the couch to like go for a run, or to, join a gym?
Okay, so
I'm
short,
putting him on the spot, but he
yeah,
doesn't know any of these questions, so
just coming in,
I'm
yeah.
yeah. He came in hot, dude. So yeah. So how do you get me off the couch?
So the thing is that I can't, Sam, because I can't change you. You have to change you. Just like nobody can force you, or no matter how many times you turn on the TV and you see the news and you see McAllen's obese, right? The most obese city in the US. Well, that's a fact, right? But that's still not going to get me off the couch, right? Because that's somebody telling me what to do, right? Making recommendations. Hey, as a city regulation, we're going to, get rid of these foods, or we're going to implement these run clubs or these health events, right? Well, that's an external force trying to change me, and as human beings, we don't really change with external force, at least long term. That comes from something internal, right? Now, I have a background as a personal trainer, and what the difference is between clients that see results and clients that don't, and that are not disciplined, that really don't show up as much compared to the ones that do. Well, they have the same coach, right? Let's just say I'm coaching two people, one of them seeing tremendous results in a matter of 3 months, and the other one really hasn't done much. Well, what's the difference? The variable is not me because I'm still coaching both of them.
You're the control. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the variable? The variable is them, right? And how they see themselves and how serious they are about their goals. Which one really changed internally, right? The one that hasn't changed internally is not going to show up consistently, is not going to get enough rest at home, is going to cancel on me a lot, right? And maybe calling some people out,
Yeah, it's
right?
gonna cancel on me. Yeah,
uh,
in his white truck or whatever. Like, nah, I'm
yeah,
kidding. I don't know.
and the one that changed internally, you see, I could even cancel, and they will still work out at home,
Mm,
or I could stop being their trainer, and they'll find another trainer, or they'll get a membership.
because that's not an obstacle. Yeah,
Bingo,
I get you.
because they didn't start going to the gym because of me.
Mm,
They stayed consistent for them. And that's the difference. It has to come from inside. I can be your coach. I can yell at you. I can be soft on you. I can, sweet talk you into going to the gym. At the end of the day, if you don't want it for yourself, if you don't want it bad enough, you're not gonna stick to it.
okay, and that has to come before you even start, right? Okay.
And
Okay.
and for people that may not have that internal desire or change yet, just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. It's gonna eventually get sparked somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not gonna get sparked in the daily routine,
Okay, I see.
right? There has to be something. There has to be a variable that changes,
Mm.
because if nothing changes, then nothing changes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Literally, right. I got one more question for you on this note. Did you look better first, or did you feel better first? And I'm talking about like your mind, or
Hmm.
like your anxiety,
Uh-huh.
depression, physical or mental. Which one was first?
Feel better.
Okay.
Feel better mentally first, right?
So that was that was even the fastest result. Wow.
Yes. And because just naturally, when we do work out, our body does release different hormones that are called happy hormones, right? Things like dopamine, serotonin, other hormones like that. And naturally, that helps mentally, you know? And because of the physical effort, it's almost like it works both ways, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So when there's a positive physical input, there's also a positive mental output, right? So even though I didn't physically see the results, I still mentally felt better about myself because I was just being healthier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
So you do
naturally,
look better to your mind. Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Same
yeah,
body, but because you feel better, you see yourself better.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Your eyes changed. Yeah.
yes, and
Yeah.
it kind of goes back and forth. It's like you go to the gym, right? Physical input, positive mental output, right? You start feeling better, you start thinking better, less anxiety. And because you feel better, you also feel more committed to the gym because that was maybe the one variable that you changed. You started working out, right?
Mm.
So naturally, you're aware now, okay, I went to the gym. I feel better now. I feel less anxious, I feel more confident in myself. Man, let me keep going to the gym. This is pretty cool. Just to feel good, just to feel less anxious, to be a part of a community, because people also just want to be a part of something, part of a
Mm-hmm.
team. Let me just go back to the gym just because I like the people there. And then you show up consistently, and then now it's positive mental input, which equals consistency and discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And now on the back end, a few months down the line, now it's positive physical output. Now you physically see results. And it's just like going back and forth.
Mm.
And that's what that loop is, right?
Yeah.
For people that stay consistent, in my opinion,
Yeah, for sure. For
in my
sure.
experience.
So there's something that I learned from Aaron throughout this conversation, and also just like observing like your whole like the whole thing you got going on. What he did, guys, like he started going to the gym um without realizing the differences it was going to make. He started going to the gym, and then all of a sudden his anxiety's gone. His depression, I don't want to say gone. Is it fair to, like, what would you say?
I would say yes.
Okay, so his
Yeah.
anxiety's gone, his depression's gone, and then all of a sudden, this guy's a business owner, right out of nowhere. So he started going to the gym, and now he has an apparel line. I'm realizing that there are doors that will open for us that we don't even know are there yet. He had no idea this was gonna happen. He he didn't know he was gonna be sitting here right now, like with his own cap and his lightning bolt. But making that jump, like I can see like it and again like it's you literally had no idea, but it does so many things for you. Yeah, doors can open for you that you don't even know we're gonna be there. And with that in mind, like do you have like where do you sell your stuff? Like, cause now I kind of feel like I mean like I'm just asking for myself. Like I kind of like this whole vibe. Like where do I find your stuff or what?
Yeah, so Sam's gonna we're gonna have to sponsor the RGV podcast or something. Sam's gonna start rocking some gear now. All right. But check this out. So aarontrainsapparel.com, or you can find us on social media. Aaron Trains Apparel, AARON, Trains TRAINS, and Apparel, right? You can find us on Instagram, TikTok. Aside from that, you can visit the website, aarontrainsapparel.com. We ship all over the valley, all over the country. And we do multiple events. We do pop-ups just about every week at a different gym. True Fits, Crunch, Golds, any local gyms. We love local gyms, small business owners that have their own facilities, just because it's more about community.
Support local.
Absolutely. So you can find us on Instagram. Shoot us a message if you guys need anything at all, right? Any advice, looking for any new merch. We're going to be dropping a lot of new designs this year. So stay tuned for that, guys. And you can find us at your local gym.
All right, guys. So support local. Check him out, right? I really love the story, the mission behind this stuff, and I really just like because I know that if I wear it, it's like somebody from my hood, from my hometown. So now, guys, not to cut off our conversation, but speaking, because this is a positive vibe and everything, I want to make sure that we mention our value homework for the week. This week is to call a friend. You can text them if you want, right? Call a friend, check up on them, tell them you love them. Okay, that's your homework. You have a week to do it. We're gonna do it too. I'm gonna have to give Aaron this assignment as well, right? So call someone that you haven't talked to in a while, check up on them. All right, we're all gonna do that. We're all gonna do that together, and tell them to check out the Real Grande podcast. Now you don't have to do that, but if you did, I'd love you a little bit more.
And Aaron Trains Apparel.
And yeah, and tell them to put on some Aaron Trains. What you got like shorts and stuff like that too, right? Like everything. This guy's out here.
Yeah. Shorts, t-shirts, hoodies, joggers, you name it. Everything under the sun. We got
Very
it.
good.
All
Everything
right.
under the
or
sun.
we're working on it. Okay.
Or they're working on it. All right, under the sun. All right, guys. Well, thanks for another week on the Real Grande podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. Follow Aaron Trains Apparel. Follow the Real Grande podcast. We just met another awesome part of our community, right? Another awesome member of the Rio Grande Valley of Brownsville. So shout out to Brownsville on the less traffic, right? So unfortunately, you had to deal with Hidalgo County here, but he'll forgive us. So you guys have a good week, okay? All right, you guys enjoy your rest of your day or enjoy your night. Go to sleep, get some rest, have a meal. Don't forget to eat dinner. My wife didn't have lunch today, so don't be like her, right? See you guys later. Have a good night.
Adios.